Welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Terran versus Protoss on the map Nightshade. Spawning here in the bottom right hand corner, playing with the blue Terran SCVs. He's from South Korea. He's nicknamed The Machine. If you watched any professional SC2 between like right now and then the early days of Wings of Liberty, so nearly 10 years ago, you've probably seen this man's nickname. He's ridiculously good, he's always been dominating, and he goes by the name of INnoVation. No one really has a track record like INnoVation. I mean, he doesn't show any signs of slowing down yet either. He really is extremely good. His opponent, though, a relative newcomer when it comes to, at the very least, playing at this level. Apparently, he used to be on SK Telecom T1. He used to be on Prime as well, but I honestly didn't know of his nickname until a couple of weeks ago. Playing here with the Red Protoss probes, we're looking inside of the main base of Zoun. So Zoun has been turning heads, doing very well in online tournaments in particular. So I want to see how he goes up against someone of the caliber of INnoVation. Because INnoVation is like your most stock standard macro-focused Terran player. He doesn't really mess up his build orders. If you want to learn how to play Terran, you probably want to take one of his builds. Because he's just super solid and very safe and sound. Now, you want to hear something funny? And this is not like me being mean or whatever, okay? But just to put a little bit of contrast between these two. INnoVation, when it comes to tournament earnings, has earned roughly $714,000 over the course of his career. Zoun, on the other end, he has earned $8,000.20. Ooh, actually, ooh, that was pretty cute. A little bit of supply depot micro there. He really wants to get that probe. Get him. Anyways, so there's like a $700,000, tournament earnings difference between these two guys. And I get that in tennis, that's not a lot. In football, that's not a lot. And, some of those traditional sports, that's not a lot. But in StarCraft 2, certainly nothing to scoff at. Reaper, though, is going to come out here in a second. What a probe. It can smell freedom. It's not going to happen here, as he will get picked off by that Reaper. Yeah, so INnoVation, very safe, very sound. It's also the critique that a lot of people have of him, because he really does like executing the same builds almost every single time, or with like a very small deviation. It's hard to really pinpoint where Zoun really is, though, right now at skill level. I mean, I've casted one series of him so far. I think it was between him and Zest. I'll actually go ahead and include that cast as well in the top right-hand corner of this video, so you can go ahead and check it out if you really want to. Reaper has arrived, but nice little bit of a wall off right here on top of that ramp. It's going to allow the Reaper to move up, but not get into the main base. And it's actually rather annoying right now, because that means that this Adept can actually shade away and zone away that Reaper quite a while, meaning that the tech structure, the Twilight Council that's going up right here inside of the main, is completely unscouted. And I don't think you're really going to be able to scout that anytime soon. So you never really know if it's going to be a Twilight right now, or a Robo, or a Stargate. So INnoVation is going to have to prepare for many of those things absolutely manually, right? He's going to have to make sure that he's got all of those units ready to go to deal with it. As you can see, he's already got that Widow Mine rallied here to that mineral line. Very critical. Probably wants to hide it right outside of the vision range, so you don't see the little pothole either. But he has to prepare for example, an Oracle to show up in just a bit. He's also really diligently scouting around. Look at this. So that Reaper, yeah, it couldn't get into the main base, but it's basically scouted the entire map, right? Or at the very least, all of the likely proxy locations. He knows right now that it's very unlikely it's going to be a proxy, but once again, now with the Stalker joining in as well, I mean, this doesn't give him really very much information at all. He sees a bunch of gateways going down. I guess that's nice to know. But it still does not necessarily mean that it's not going to be an Oracle opener. So, Widow Mine, I mean, I can barely see it. There it is. Can you see it? It's right there. It's actually pretty cute. This is one of the moves that I highly recommend if you're a Terran player to incorporate into your own play. It's the worst when you play Protoss. Basically, if an Oracle were to fly in right now, I mean, this Widow Mine would be absolutely unspotted. You can't even see the little hole. 3 of the Widow Mines, though, have now entered the plane. Oracles would have already arrived at this point, so he knows that that's not going to happen. Means that he can send now that one Widow Mine across the map. Already, though, a third Nexus coming up. And you can see this is like where Terran always kind of struggles. INnoVation has really defended against everything, and nothing is really coming. It's just a very standard macro game here from Zoun. Obviously that means he's going to start falling behind here in the economy game. If you try and be defensive against everything, you end up losing the macro game. This is quite nice, though. Widow Mines should not be able to get much done. Although, well, 3 probes, better than nothing. Doesn't look like, though, the medevac is going to be able to help these Widow Mines get out of there. So that's a little bit painful. Luckily, the medevac still lives. But the Widow Mines will be picked off here in just a little bit. He's trying to run for his life, hoping that the Protoss forgets about it. But at this level of play, obviously, that does not happen. All right, Charge is coming up as well. Blink is already done. Notice, by the way, how he did not show Blink. He could have caught up with that Widow Mine. He may have even been able to try and catch up with that medevac. But he made the assumption it wasn't going to be needed. So he actually purposely declined his opponent that information. Widow Mine did scout out, though, a lot of information, but it barely did not see that Twilight Council. So INnoVation still a bit in the dark, but obviously you can really start figuring out what's happening here anyway, just by crossing different build orders off of the list. And judging the timing there of that third base also gives him a lot of information already. It's kind of like playing the way that like Zerg likes to... he's actually healing up the SCV for a little bit. But it's also kind of the way that Zerg usually likes to scout in these matchups. It's not so much that you necessarily want to see precisely what it is your opponent is going for, but also crossing different build orders off of the list is very critical. So that's basically what INnoVation has done here as well. Now, Blink is available, so he could get into the main base. Raven and Marines, though, already waiting over here. Oh, he sees it. No, I don't think you want to do that, my man. That's too risky. INnoVation probably heard the little squeaky sound. Knew that there would be an observer somewhere. That little sound. That's when you hear it. That there's an observer going in surveillance mode. Alright, so. Widow Mines. Or rather, Marines. There's a couple of Widow Mines here as well. But Marines inside of that medevac this time around. Blink does get revealed. Looks like the observer will also be picked off. And this is quite a nice little... Ooh, well, there you go. Nice little attack, though. Because it's gone completely unscouted. I believe that all of the Protoss units are currently on the other side of the map. There they are. And that means that the Marines managed to unload inside of the main base completely uncontested. Now, there is that one shield battery. At the same time, actually, while the Terran player is moving out, Protoss is also moving towards the natural expansion. Zoun all of a sudden found the base completely undefended. That means he's going to be able to get a ton of these SCVs. Somehow, some way, eventually, they snuck through that. At the same time, though, INnoVation has committed to the stim pack on the other side of the map. He's actually burrowing a couple of Widow Mines, expecting those Stalkers probably to walk down the ramp here. Marines are going to town on the probes over in the third base, but I feel like the main and the natural are in a lot of trouble. There we go. Lots of probes will end up going down here as well. In the meantime, on the other side, we see a big drop happening here. A couple of reinforcing Terran units tried to get something done. Not quite gonna happen, as Zoun is gonna try and start working on those structures. Now, keep in mind, right? You never wanna base race a Terran. Do not base race a Terran. It's a bad idea. I mean, at least on paper, you can't really win because Protoss players can't float their structures, right? Now, luckily here, the command center decided to float on down towards the low ground and then land, meaning that these Stalkers can catch up to it. Still, though, I feel like the main base is pretty much gone, right? Ooh, big Widow Mine burrow actually inside of that mineral line, too. There we go. Handful of workers immediately do go down. There we go, though. This is where the floating becomes really, really painful. There are locations on the map, like, for example, this, where you can't really catch up very easily. Zoun knows it. He tries to get this... Ooh, he tries to get this command center to start burning. If that happens, it will eventually burn down, but when it's in orange hit points, it's gonna live. In the meantime, though, another base already gets acquired in the top right-hand corner. INnoVation with an empty medevac scouts that. Absolutely brilliant. Third base still lives. Main base is already gone, though. INnoVation knows what's happening here. I love the fact that he's actually scouting with an empty medevac, anticipating that he needs to figure out exactly what's going on. And all of a sudden, as both players decided to attack each other, I didn't see that the armies were moving out. We have an absolute ridiculous base race. Probes, actually, have made their way across the map. A couple of Stalkers made their way outside of the main base, and it looks like they will also be moving towards the natural of the opponent. Is he gonna reacquire the main? Oh, I love it. Zoun actually is gonna start working here on the mineral patches inside of the main base. INnoVation does still have the command center over here. He has no... Okay, he's got one SCV, actually. I thought he didn't. That's actually pretty big, because that means he can still construct a command center. As you can see, he actually... he actually has... No, don't repair. He does have minerals right now to build a command center. You can't actually repair too much, because then you run out of minerals. If you want to construct a base over here, or anywhere else, you gotta make sure you do so very soon. I actually like the idea of taking the main base here, because it means that Zoun just has to hold on to this ramp, right? Terran is gonna have a very hard time breaking that. Nexus is building right now. If he's gonna be able to mine for a little bit and stabilize, he's gonna be in a wonderful position. INnoVation, though, has a lot of units all over the map. A couple of structures are floating off in the different corners. Oh, he wants to take this base? Okay, Zoun does see it, by the way. So he sees where the command center is located. That makes it much easier. He doesn't know about the barracks up there. Does INnoVation know about the main? No, he doesn't. He probably makes the assumption, though. There it is. Yeah, so he lends the orbital command. You can't scan without landing it. Oh my god, he can actually blink down. Zoun sees that the Marines are probably not here. Very risky move, though. Okay, force field does go down on the top of the ramp. Here we go, actually. Stalkers have decided to blink down towards the low ground. This would be the moment to commit if INnoVation really wants to. Force fields eventually do run out. Big drop right now inside of the main base as well. For some of those reinforcing Terran units, looks like INnoVation indeed breaks into the main base. Zoun actually loads up a bunch of probes inside of the prism, but he doesn't have enough money to actually remake a base. Yeah, this is great and all, right? Yeah, but you're not going to be able to, like, make another Nexus. In the meantime, though, I mean, how many structures really remain? It's only this one barracks. This is the final structure for INnoVation. Is this a safe spot? I actually don't know if it is. INnoVation doesn't know either. He's trying to scramble all of his units to head on over in that direction. The Stalkers do find an angle to shoot down at that barracks. It's burning. That's game over, right? That's game over. INnoVation types a question mark. Zoun, despite usually the advice being, right? Do not base race a Terran. He finds the last structure. It was located in an area where apparently the Terran player could be shot at as well. Those Stalkers, barely in range of that barracks. They finally managed to finish it up. Beautiful game there. I always love these base races. It happens very seldomly because, well, most of the time Terran just float off their structures into the different corners. Basically what INnoVation did here as well. But Zoun apparently felt confident and, well, he immediately went for the kill as soon as he saw an opportunity. Love it. Beautiful game there by Zoun. And you know what? Obtaining the victory against INnoVation, very impressive. So, I just looked it up. I was actually curious. This is game number 1 of a best-of-5 series that Zoun played against INnoVation during the IEM qualifiers. I heard that game number 1 was really good, but the rest of the matches not so much. I didn't realize it, but apparently Zoun managed to 3-0 INnoVation in that series. That's pretty crazy. Apparently the rest of the games aren't particularly impressive, because otherwise I would have, you know, just casted the entire best-of-5. But that's still sick, though. The fact that Zoun, a relative newcomer, can 3-0 INnoVation? Not bad at all. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notifications as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for all of your generosity. I really appreciate it. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile alright. And I will see you once again in the next one.